definitely one of the more time-consuming DIYs. Just as easily make them yourself. Usually like that, isn't it? We are finished. Welcome back to my channel. For this week's episode, I decided that I wanted to do one more Christmassy episode. However, this week it's all going to be focused on the Christmas tree. I'm going to show you 7 DIY ornaments that you can make yourself at home for your own Christmas tree. They are of varying difficulties. Some are actually pretty quick and easy. Others may take a while to make. And at the end of the video, I'm also going to decorate my Christmas tree. So I'll show you each ornament on the tree so you can then pick and choose the one that you like best. I think without further ado, I'm just going to get started. Now for our first DIY, we are going to create these gorgeous paper star ornaments. You actually do not need that much. Regular paper glue, scissors, twine, a pencil, a ruler, and ideally a hot glue gun. You could also just do this whole DIY with regular paper glue, but I do find it works better with the hot glue gun because the hot glue kind of curates a little quicker. So if you do it with regular glue, you'll have to wait a little longer for the glue to set, but it should work the same. And then finally, you need some ideally patterned paper sheets. They do not need to be patterned. I do find it makes them look more Christmassy if there are Christmas patterns on it, but you can use whatever you can find. You may actually have seen this DIY around before this season. I certainly have. It's actually the same one that people do with the toilet paper rolls. I have tried it as well with the toilet paper roll first, and it works decently well. You just simply have to paint the toilet paper roll beforehand. But I guess without further ado, I'll just show you how you can make these. So the first step is to choose a pattern sheet that you like. I'm going to use the same one that I used on this star. And then what I would do is to fold the sheet in two and then cut it at this line. Now you do not need a ruler that cuts your paper. You can also simply use the scissors, but I happen to have one, so I'm going to use it. What we're going to do now is to roll the paper and glue it. I have tried this before with the hot glue gun, but in this step I do find that the paper glue makes for a cleaner look, so I would go with the paper glue even if you have a hot glue gun. Then I'm going to repeat the same process with the second half of my sheet. Do make sure to let the glue dry properly. So I'm just going to snap my fingers and then the glue will be dry and we can continue with the DIY. Okay, now the next thing you want to do is to take one of your rolls and make it flat. I would do it in a way where the seam where you glued is in the middle of the bottom side. This is my seam. I'm just going to put it down and then I'm simply going to push. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with this one. As you can see, this star has 7 points. You can do as many or as little as you want, but I find that 7 is actually the perfect number. What we need to do is to cut the strips for our big star points. So I'm just going to use the ruler to mark where I'm going to cut. For my bigger star points, I'm using 1.5 centimeters. Okay, you can start with the cutting. I'll be honest, I was hoping I could use this one because when using the scissors, I'm definitely cutting a bit more crooked. I'm already heating up the hot glue gun. So next we are going to cut the smaller points of the star. I'm going to make these a bit smaller, so I'm going with 1 centimeter instead of 1.5 centimeters. Your smaller strips, you are going to fold them in half. I would do it in a way where the seam where you glued is on the inside of your fold. And now it's time to use the hot glue gun and assemble our star. I would actually get started with the smaller strips, put a bit of hot glue in the middle here to keep them together. And now onto the bigger ones. Glue the bigger pieces together like this, and again here I would make it in a way where the seam of where you glued the paper roll is also kind of like in the area where you will glue the star together. Once the bigger points of your star are glued together, you can already take your smaller ones and glue them in as well. To do this, I would just put a tiny little bit of hot glue at the bottom and then kind of like push it into the fold here. And as you can see, now we're already nearly done. Adjust the points a bit so that they look nicer. Now in the final step, I'm going to take a piece of twine, make a double knot, and we are done. I'll be honest, my second one kind of turned out better than the first one, but it's usually like that, isn't it? So that's it for the first DIY. So next up are these gorgeous star anise wreaths. Is it star anise or star anise? For this DIY you actually need even less stuff. You basically need, well, your star anise, some twine, some wire, something to cut your wire with, and a hot glue gun again, and then also scissors. The first thing you need to do is to make the wreath where your star anise is going to be glued on. I actually used my twine as a kind of like guideline for the diameter of my wreath. Leave some overhang on the front. Then I'm just going around like 4 to 5 times. Can of course make it thicker, but this works as well. Clip it. Okay, you will have to get this off. Then try to kind of like keep the shape. The loose ends that you have, start by just simply wrapping them around. Next up, you take your star anise. You can already kind of like think about a placement. I do like to do this because it does give me kind of an idea of how many I need. And then you can already take your hot glue gun and start gluing them up. Once the glue is dry, turn your wreath around and use the scissors to tidy up some of the not so clean patches of glue. And then once you're happy with it, there is one last step. Simply take your twine, choose which side is going to be up. And DIY number 2, done. Now next up we are going to make these gilded walnuts. You can also buy these, but you can also just as easily make them yourself, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that. Now again, you ideally have a hot glue gun, a pair of scissors, some twine. Then to gild them, either golden spray paint or you can also use gilding wax. Use whatever is easiest for you to acquire or what you already have at home. And then finally your walnut shells. Now as you can see, I already halved these. You can actually quite simply do this by taking a knife and then wedging it in the gap between the shells and kind of like trying to crack them open. Do make sure to be careful when you do it, because you can also quite easily slip with the knife and cut yourself, and that's not what we want. Once you have them opened, you just simply clean them out, and then you essentially already have what you need for this DIY. One more thing, if you have more than one walnut, then do make sure that you keep the halves that belong together, because otherwise you're gonna have to play memory or you can actually glue them together. Now the first step is to basically gild the walnut shells. So I'm quickly going to take these outside and do that there. Definitely don't want to get the spray paint all over our furniture. I'm going to quickly do that, and then I'll see you back here for essentially already the last step. Once all of your walnut shells are gilded and dried, you can go get your twine. Then you can essentially cut a piece of about this size, make a knot, and then it's essentially already time for the hot glue gun. And just like that, your ornament is actually already finished. Now, as you can see, with this one I decided to put a wooden bead on. You can also use, I don't know, small bells. I think the gold ones I'm just going to keep as is. As you can see, that's already it. You have your gilded walnut ornaments. So with this next DIY, we are actually already at the halfway mark. Now what I'm going to create next is this 3D paper star. This paper star looks actually the same as the star that I have in my window, which is kind of like why I chose to make this ornament, because I like that star so much. If I'm going to be honest with you, if you're looking for an easy paper star to make as an ornament, I would suggest staying with the first DIY that I showed you. In theory, this one does not sound that hard. In reality, like making it does take quite a bit of time. It's a bit more repetitive and it has its let's say downfalls. Okay, now what you need for this DIY is again foiled paper sheets. In terms of glue, you can actually go either way. You can take the hot glue gun or you can take regular paper glue. I made most of the star with regular paper glue. The result is cleaner. However, since this glue takes quite a long time to curate, it can make it a bit complicated because you kind of have to assemble this star piece by piece, and if you use the regular paper glue, once you reach the third piece, the glue on the first one is still not dry and then the pieces sometimes start to slip again. That's why in the end I did revert back to the hot glue gun, but I guess you'll just have to try for yourself what you like working with best. Next, you need a ruler, pencil, scissors, some twine, a needle, and finally a template. I downloaded this template from a German website. I'm going to link it down below. You can, however, also just research 7-point 3D star template, and I found the same template on other websites as well. Since I wanted to make the star as an ornament for the Christmas tree, I did not want it to be too big, so I kind of like printed this at a smaller size. I think without further ado, let's just get started. So first I'm going to choose the pattern paper sheet that I'll use. I think I know already which one I want. This one. I'm going to take my template, turn this around, and kind of like pre-cut smaller squares that are roughly the size of the template. That way it's going to be easier to cut everything out afterwards. Once you have your smaller pieces roughly drawn on your paper sheet, you can start by cutting them out. Okay, so once you have all of your smaller pieces cut out, take your template and place it on the back of your piece of paper. Mine has only foil on this side and not on the back side, so if that's the case for your piece of paper as well, then do make sure to use the back side for this. And then I'm going to use this needle to mark all of my edges where two lines meet. actually do not have to do this with the needle. You can also just maybe cut your template out and then trace it with your pencil. I kind of like this because that way I can just go in and connect the marks that I made. Going to lie, transferring the template is very time consuming, especially since we now have to cut this out, fold it, and then repeat that process 7 more times. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm back. It took me a good 40 minutes at least to do this. So this is definitely one of the more time-consuming DIYs. So now it's time for the final assembly. The first thing I'm going to do is to glue the point of the star. Once I have done that for each individual piece, you see these small overlapping pieces that are left. Essentially, to piece the star together, you'll have to put the glue on the outside of each of these pieces, and then you have to put them together in a way where like this small overlapping piece sits on the inside of the next star point that you have. So let's do this. And with that, DIY number 4 is finished. So next up is definitely a way easier DIY, and that's these wood bead star ornaments. They're actually pretty easy to make, and you also do not need very much at all. You only need wooden beads, some twine, and a pair of scissors. The first step is actually pretty easy. I'm just going to take 12 wooden beads, and then you're just going to put all of them in. Once you have all 12 of your wood beads in, make like a circle, and then you're gonna have to make a double knot. It has to be a double knot because otherwise it's going to come loose. To make the points of your star, you'll need 3 beads for each point. As you can see, this star has 6 points, so you'll need 3 times 6, 18. Put 3 beads on one side of your twine, and then you twist them over so that there is one wooden bead in the middle of them, basically. And then you will have to put your twine through the next one. So this is where your twine starts. There's one wooden bead in the middle, and then that one is going to be where you put your twine through. Okay, then you essentially repeat this process until all 6 of your points are done. Once you reach the end, you can actually finish the star by just making a double knot. Trim the twine. Now the last step is to take another piece of twine, choose one point of the star to put it through, to have like a way to hang your star, and we are finished. For this last DIY, we are going to do something that is, I don't know if it is technically a DIY. I mean, it is, but it's like I'm not creating an ornament from scratch. Essentially, what we are going to do is we will revamp some of my old ornaments. Now, there was a time a few years ago where I was into silver ornaments, and that has not been the case for the last few years. And while I still very much love the ornaments that I got during that time, I have not been decorating with them a lot in the past few years. And so I think it is time that I'm going to revamp them. Essentially what I'm talking about are these ornaments. These are just some bells. Then there's this gorgeous ornament. And finally this silver violin. And over the last few months I acquired all those gold spray paints, and so I kind of thought, why not make these ornaments gold? And that's essentially what we're going to do. All my old ornaments that I'm revamping had to dry outside for a few hours. So now I can actually just attach the twine, and then they are already nearly ready to go on the Christmas tree. Now for the bells, I did prepare some bows this afternoon. They had bows before and I kind of wanted to replace those. Now I do have to heat up the hot glue gun again to attach them. And while the hot glue gun is heating up, I'm already attaching twine to the bells. So now that all our DIY ornaments are finished, there's actually only one thing left to do, and that is to go get a Christmas tree. Honestly, I'm really happy with how the ornaments turned out, and also like with the tree in general. I have to say that when we went to pick our Christmas tree, somehow I thought it was smaller. It wasn't until we brought it into the living room that I realized just how big it is. But at the same time, while it is quite big, I do think that it's actually the perfect size for this room. I love a Christmas tree that is filled with ornaments, and so I was actually kind of worried in the beginning that we did not have enough ornaments. In the end, that worry was definitely not necessary. Between the ornaments that I made in this video, the ones that I thrifted and got new this year, and also the ornaments that I already owned from previous years, we definitely managed to create an awesome Christmas tree. Funnily enough, I actually already own quite a few more ornaments than I initially thought I did. It was actually great fun to open up the boxes, get everything out and rediscover some of these ornaments, even though I have literally decorated with them last year. Now it does make sense because I have collected Christmas ornaments for the past 8 years. Some of them we got from trips we went on, others were from Christmas markets, and it's really awesome to see all of these ornaments come together on this tree now. Now the only thing I do want to exchange is the tree topper. I think from now on I'll keep an eye out so that I can maybe get a new one for next year. I think I'm now going to get started and tidy up the mess that I made in here. There's definitely stuff all over the floor. So yeah, if you like this video, remember to give it a like and also consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a cozy and awesome Christmas season. So see you on my next video. Bye!